All right. So, hello and namaste to all the viewers, and welcome to MRFR's podcast. Today we have Tushar, who is the CDIO of Aurigene Pharmaceutical Services Limited, which is a subsidiary of Dr. Reddy's, and he's also the key opinion leader for Industry 4.0. So, Tushar, we have several questions for you today, out of which I'm curious to know about the disruptions in the pharmaceutical industry, particularly in terms of production efficiency. According to the news and the research which MRFR has done, AMR and EBB Robotics, a leading robotics machine automation solution provider, is collaborating with pharmaceutical giant GSK to improve their workflow and automation in warehouses, potentially reducing automation costs by approximately 40%. If other pharmaceutical giants were to adopt similar automation strategies, do you believe it would be enabling them to reduce their production costs and potentially stimulate a 4% increase in the global pharmaceutical market? That's what our data is. What is your say about it?
Sure. Thanks, Indu, for having me here. I think it's pleasure to talk to you after some time. So yes, I think 4% is still, I would say, a very conservative number. It can be bigger than that, definitely. So the way I look at it, any business in the today's world is divided into three basic buckets, right? First bucket is something which we call hunting, where we go and hunt for new customers, prospects, suspects. Second bucket is what I call farming. This is where we ensure the stickiness of the customers, so that once the customer is there with us, he continues to be with us and give us more business. Third is around productivity. Now, productivity is the most important lever amongst the three, because this ultimately influences the way we hunt and the way we farm as well. Yeah. So pharmaceutical in the digital space have always been a laggard, I would say, because of various regulations, compliances, which we are supposed to go through. We face audits every now and then. So how do we adapt to the changing world with whole digital technologies, and how do we scale up? It's all and all function about all Industry 4.0, digital analytics, and new age solutions. Automation, for that matter, is one of the important lever which every organization is now realizing. It actually helps us to increase our production efficiency by streamlining the whole manufacturing process, which improves our overall production throughput. It reduces the cycle time. It increases the efficiency, and it ultimately helps us to meet our growing demand, and while it also minimizes the overall operational cost. It reduces the labor cost as well, because now you can imagine a robot doing a person's job. So overall, the labor cost also gets reduced drastically. It improves our quality control. Now, gone are those days where a person is sitting and doing a quality check. Nowadays, it's all automatic, done by a robot at the end of the day. It helps us to reduce cost at logistics, at inventory, at manufacturing, and different places as well. It also helps us to accelerate R&D by 2 times at least. So the way we look at high throughput screening in drug discovery or development, we are able to reach R&D. We are able to complete R&D in record time. We are able to do it in half the time it used to earlier take. I'll give you one example of my experience around automation, and it is a mind-blowing example. Whenever I speak at places, I usually use this. Now, this is called end-of-line automation. Now imagine there's a plant, and in which we are manufacturing some medicines, and towards the end of the manufacturing there is something called packaging, where you package your material and you keep it in a box, right? So imagine now what happens is, these days there are something called highway overhead conveyors, wherein a shipper or a big carton is placed automatically. There is a lift which takes it to the highway conveyor. There are big conveyor belt which directly takes it to the warehouse, and in the warehouse there are three robotic arms which will pick up that particular carton, put it at a right place on the right pallet. The pallets are automatically wrapped, strapped, and they are automatically picked up by something called AGV, automated guided vehicle, and kept it in something called ASRS, which is nothing but automatic storage and retrieval system. Now all this happening automatically without a single person's involvement. Everything is getting scanned on a real-time basis. Everything is happening on a real-time basis without a manual intervention and hence without manual error, which has increased efficiency drastically for the entire industry. So to me, I think automation strategies are certainly handy for achieving the competitive advantage, for reducing the production cost, for potentially increasing the market share as well. There and automation is one of the lever, I would say. There are many other levers like this. Industry 4.0 rather Indu has eight basic levers, and I just touched upon one, which is the process automation part of it. There are other levers as well, which we will talk during the podcast.
Okay. So you said 4% is pretty less according to you. So what do you think should be the right guesstimates as per your experience and your understanding?
I think around 6 to 8%, definitely.
6 to 8%. Okay. Okay. So we did another report, and its market size was estimated as $175 billion in 2022. It's about pharmaceutical robotics market. So considering the increasing adoption of robotics automation, do you anticipate a significant expansion in the market size of pharmaceutical robotics sector in the coming years?
Yes, absolutely. So in the world today, again, I'm going back to the business. The best strategy is either is twofold. One is either you become a cost leader. Second is you have a differentiation, and that is the reason why a customer will come to you and give you work. For the adoption, it is increasing because of the benefits which people are realizing. Earlier, it was not the case. Earlier, people used to find it very difficult to understand that how automation can help them to reduce cost. I remember conversations in the boardroom. CEOs will not even accept any digital project and they will not fund it earlier versus now because the benefits are now realized and people are able to understand and appreciate the whole value proposition what digital automation analytics bring to the table. Hence we have a stronger say. The business cases are not getting rejected just like that. Now the boardrooms are filled with digital leaders as well. People think digital in their the way they do because of many things which they have realized. For example, the benefits what we see: increased efficiency, improved quality control, cost savings, and various other factors, right? From a robotic standpoint, I think again, like I told in the previous question as well, the production efficiency has increased drastically thanks to automation. Whatever we are looking at the shop floor, the quality compliance has improved. Gone are those days where someone is manually ensuring the compliances are there or not because it was a paper driven process. Nowadays, if it's a system driven process, you cannot deviate the system. System says that this
Yeah.
particular field is mandatory. It is mandatory. You have to fill it, otherwise you cannot go ahead. Drug discovery, R&D are also places wherein automation and digital initiatives are bringing some breakthrough innovations. We are seeing cost savings at the labor. We are seeing the cost savings at the inventory placements and all. We don't need to invest a lot in the inventory because of digital predictions and the forecastings. Yeah. As and when the technology is getting advanced, our efficiency is improving every day. Yeah. So overall, I think one important lever which we should look at is COVID. Now, COVID has in a way accelerated the whole digital adoption in any company. Yeah. And it has also told us that how we should be as a company, how agile and how quick we should be to react to such pandemics. You can see the first vaccine coming in so early, thanks to all the digital predictions, generative AI, and all those new technological advancements. We were able to reach as soon as we could. I think the robotics market is going to expand, and I think that is here to stay for very, very long time.
So, that makes me question about when do you anticipate that pharmaceutical companies will be fully ready to operate with factory of the future? And what are the business processes that will be eliminated once the adoption is totally, completely there?
Sure. So, like I was mentioning, the Industry 4.0, we call it as 4IR, Fourth Industrial Revolution, has many use cases, many technologies. Like I mentioned, there are total eight. One is automation, we spoke about. Another is something called digital twin. Now, digital twin is you don't actually do it on the shop floor, you simulate it first using multiple technologies. And once you are through, then you go to the shop floor to execute. Third is around AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, which is around trainings, how you train your people. They don't have to go on the shop floor and do it firsthand on a machine, which is quite dangerous. They can do it, they can simulate it at the AR, VR, MR level and learn from it and then use it on the shop floor. Fourth is industrial IoT. Now, again, a very important aspect for it, because industrial IoT is something which will help us to predict any downtimes, any breakdowns, and hence and so forth. Fifth is digital performance management. How do you manage your KPIs? How do you keep on monitoring them? And how do you make sure that whatever KPIs you have destined to attract, are you actually going there or not? Is the needle moving there or not? And finally, the sixth one, which is most important, is something called advanced analytics. This is where all the new techs, I mean AI, ML, GPTs of the world fit in, and deep learning, NLP, natural language processing, large language models, and all those things will fit into analytics, advanced analytics piece. So these are the six basic things which every company has to go through. From a maturity perspective in India, Indu, I don't think everyone is there yet. Though COVID has pushed the adoption of digital drastically, but I don't think everyone has realized it completely. There are people who still are talking about network devices and servers and infrastructure, IT infrastructure. I still see people addressing the computer related problems and not solving for the future. When you say factory of the future, it does not solve for just setting up a network layer. It does not solve for your OT functional. No, it actually is much bigger. I think for any company to realize it, it's a journey. No one is. I don't think anyone claiming 4.0 we have done is there yet. It's a journey which people are still going through, and it depends on the company's size. It depends on their current technology infrastructure. It depends on regulatory constraints. It depends on the pace at which the industry is adopting this transformational changes. Yeah. For achieving all this, I think it's a gradual process. There is no single milestone. Slowly and steadily, people will go there. Few of the data points I think which we should look at from industry 4.0 perspective, which will replace jobs, so called. I don't think it is here to replace jobs. It is not here to replace processes. Rather, it is not here to eliminate processes. It is here to optimize and enhance the processes. Yeah, and the way it does it, your mundane repetitive jobs. For example, QC check, which used to happen like 3 to 4 parameters used to be monitored, will be now replaced by a bot. A bot, you feed the results to the bot, and bot will actually do the comparison, and it will say the batch is pass or fail. Yeah, it can also talk about the way scientists look into a microscope, the way they count the shapes in the microscope. They are not supposed to count it manually. By using image recognition, I can count it in a second. Earlier, scientists used to spend at least 8 hours to just count the number of cylinders or just count the number of squares in that particular
Mhm.
slide.
True.
Labeling machines are there. Earlier, filling used to be manual, label used to be put manually. Now it is completely automated. Manual visual inspection used to be there, whether that particular bottle has a top, we call it as a leaflet, is kept rightly or not in shop floor. They were manually monitoring it. Nowadays, there's a camera. I just put up a camera. I see whether it is kept right or not. If not, reject the bottle. If kept properly, then go to the next level. Using IoT, we are able to predict the machine wear and tear, the machine maintenance is getting predicted. We are able to also predict the optimum plan for a manufacturing, like right. For example, today we do a planning of a changeover. Like for example, if a batch is running, and if I want to run another product on the same packaging line or the same manufacturing line, when is the optimum time? So the system is predicting that if you have so and so plan, shift A will run batch A and shift B will continue the same batch, and it will continue for the third batch. How do you change to the next batch, the next shift is something system is predicting, so that your changeover times are reduced. So the systems are getting intelligent enough to do your shift level planning as well. One important thing I think I'll cover, and then we'll go to the next one, is around the personalization. Now, personalization of medicine is still fairly a new concept in India. Now, imagine hyper personalization of your medicine just meant for you. Like Indu is having so and so problem. Now the medicine is tailor made for your requirement. This is possible only and only with data. Now, the data, as much as we collect about Indu's behavioral aspects, her geographical aspects, demographic aspects, we will be able to personalize the medicine better for you. That is how the future of factory of future looks like.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much predictive medicine and the genetic understanding with the help of technology is happening in around the world. But if I have to really ask you, when do you think Industry 4.0 will be 100% practiced by the pharmaceutical companies? Because right now I feel there is a lack of digital maturity. So, any guesstimate how much time from, if I estimate from today, 5 years, 10 years, where do you see the world going in the pharma industry?
So I think 5 years is what I look at it, given the fact that people are realizing and people who will listen to this podcast as well will realize that someone sitting there is actually achieving 50% faster science or getting a 46% better yield. So definitely
Yes.
this is here to stay. And I
Yeah.
think people are realizing it. 5 years, definitely we should be there.
Okay. Okay. I think these kind of discussions really help the organizations also for the people who are following the traditional methodologies. They generally tend to think from a perspective of digitalizing the world sooner, and I think it is better for all of us. So let's move on the next question. We have observed that key players are formulating strategies to transition towards automated processes. For instance, Nephron Pharmaceuticals Corporation and Clemson University have joined forces to develop a robotic solution for syringe filled automation, aiming to enhance sterile manufacturing in pharmaceutical production and meet the demands of hospitals. With similar partnerships expected to emerge in the future, it is anticipated that the pre-filled syringes industry will continue to meet the increasing demand from hospitals and clinics. Do you think this factor could lead to an expected market compound annual growth rate increase by 5-7% by
Yes, absolutely.
2032? Do you feel
Yeah, yeah,
so?
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. So I think that's a great example. PFS we call as pre-filled syringes is a great example of such kind of a collaboration. And I think many people, many companies in the world, big pharmas, biotech companies, and so forth, have started working with academia, with
Yes.
universities, and building those kind of models for themselves, right? And these kind of technology is ultimately helpful for not only for that particular company, but also is a boon for other companies also to learn. Like big pharmas are collaborating with the MITs of the world, Oxfords, Harvards of the world. We have seen many companies working with startups to do basic AI startups rather, who are very good in AI, don't know science, but the big pharmas know science pretty well. So the collaboration with them is very little. A science and a technology company coming together, and they are able to generate new molecules which were never there in the on this planet using generative AI, which was never even thought about, right? And converting that into predictive AI and predicting whether this particular generated compound or molecule is able to solve for the business case or not, basically is able to solve for the disease or not. Yeah. So all this is happening because of the collaborations, whatever we see across the industry. I think there are benefits for big pharmas or perhaps for any pharmas rather, because they have this innovator biases in their mind.
Yeah.
Because I am an innovator, why will I get into a new space, and why should I invest money into something which is not there yet? In a way, what happens is they work with the best in the industry, which is the niche industry area for that particular startup, a young blood. They are able to hire the right talent in the future from that particular company. And ultimately, they end up investing in that startup or they end up buying that startup. At the end of the day, what happens is the whole ecosystem gets built for these new technological advancements. And we are able to see many such examples. I can name a few, like Novartis works with MIT, AstraZeneca has worked with Cognizant, hence and so forth. So there are many such examples where we can look at it. I have also worked in one of these startups companies wherein we had a unique problem to solve, where there are bottles which are passed on a packaging line or a manufacturing line in which the medicine is filled. Now that bottle on a conveyor belt keeps on rotating. Now, if you
Yeah.
want to scan the particular label, you will not be able to scan it because if I keep a camera at one angle, the bottle is rotating always. The next bottle will be facing some other way. So then what we did was we collaborated with one of the startups and we formed a 360-degree camera machine. We put some 5 cameras. At the bottom of the bottle, we put up a 2D barcode. Now we scanned the bottom 2D barcode and we married it with the label, with those 4 stitched image. And then we are able to establish the relationship that, okay, this particular bottle is of the right batch or not. So all these innovations will happen if you are there and your business cases are strong enough and you have a stronger ecosystem to support you. So these are just the beginnings. I think there's a long way. 5 to 7%, I think, still is on our conservative side. Maybe a bigger number than that.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you think it may cross up to more than 10-15% according to you?
Yes, 10%
Is that a
minimum.
possibility? Okay.
Yeah.
So now the big question. So Pharma 4.0 incorporates the integration of diverse technologies, including big data analytics, artificial intelligence, robotics, which creates a demand for skilled workers in this field. Do you believe Pharma 4.0 will result in job losses or conversely an increased demand for a skilled workforce? Will that impact the company's overall sales, production, and revenue? It's a big question in lines of, so if you can answer step by step, what do you predict is going to happen?
Sure. So I think first of all, no, jobs are not going to go off. Jobs are going to be there. I remember those days where people used to say, "Oh, computers are coming, calculators will no more exist." And how will people function? How will mathematics happen if the computers are there? But yet, mathematicians still there. Scientists still continue to use calculators. Computers are there. They are there to assist you. They are there to support your job. They're not there to replace you. Ultimately the whole world is going to change, wherein the if you divide your day, for example, if you divide your 8 days, 8 hours in a day, sorry, so then at least 2 to 3 hours you spend in doing repetitive stuff which is
Yeah.
non-productive for you. So idea is, how can we assist you to reduce those 2 to 3 hours and use that 2 to 3 hours to do something productive, not to replace that particular person, right, at the end of the day. So pharma 4.0, industry revolution 4.0, whatever you want to call, all these technologies are here to make your life simpler, to make your life easy, not to replace a job. That job will continue to be as it is, but the way you do your job, your efficiency will be improved. Yeah, it will remove your repetitiveness, your mundane job, and it will, that particular task rather, and it will make your life more productive, is what the whole industry 4.0 here is here to stay. Like I told you in the beginning, into that there are 3 buckets: hunting, farming, and finally productivity, right? Now, digital and analytics and automation design. So I have this theory of 3D. 3D is digital, data, and design. All the 3Ds go together. You need to have the right design thinking rather. You need to have the right digital tools rather. You need to have the right data to do analytics on top of it. If you have these 3 things right, the 3 models, the 3 buckets which I told you are getting solved for. I'll give you examples for each of the bucket. Hunting. Now, hunting, typically the way we used to hunt earlier was, there is some event happening. I met 5 people there. I'll collect their visiting cards. I'll scan them and I'll call that particular person on that number, or I will write an email to those 5 people. Now imagine that particular conference was attended by 500 people. Now you just met 5 people, right? If I have a data of all 500, I can do a marketing campaign with those 5 people, 500 people rather, and I can reach
Yeah.
all 500 at one time. And based on their click rate, if at all they're clicking my email or not, if they're opening my email or not, my next email can that marketing automation journey can be determined. If at all you open that email, you will get a different email. If you don't open the email, the same email will be resent to you with a changed subject line, so that it
Yeah.
becomes easier for you. So we have seen the whole digital marketing space is actually increasing our reach outs by 10x. Earlier, people used to reach 2,000 people, for example. Now there is no limit. I'm just quoting 20,000. I'm just quoting 50,000, I'm just quoting 2 lakh, but there's no limit to it because the internet keeps on updating the contacts. We keep on getting contacts from across conferences, across various databases, and we keep on reaching them. So the whole hunting part of it is now no longer a personal connect. Of course, it helps, but nowadays it is all automated. You are getting bombarded by spam emails or whatever emails you see. You get cold calls, right? All this is possible thanks to digital. Now, coming to the next bucket, which is nothing but farming. Now, farming is a very interesting subject because this is where stickiness of the customer is determined. Now, the more you understand their problems, yeah, sometimes the problem of the customer is visibility. Hey, look, what you are doing at your plant, I'm not having visibility. I don't know what exactly you're doing. The customer is sitting thousands of miles away in Boston or somewhere in Europe. Now, how does he see? How he cannot come to our factory and see it every time? So a metaverse or a simpler way, maybe just getting this report available to him through a portal, through a mobile app, yeah, so that he can just sit at his leisure, open his mobile app, see what is happening to his batch, and just see, okay, now this batch is going to be in a incident is there or not, any quality notifications are there or not, or am I going to get the batch on time? So
Yeah.
the farming part of it, right, it's where you are able to give that value added service to your customer, and that is what he looks for: the visibility, the transparency. There are many problems like this. The customers can place their order directly through that app because you have given him one window for you to connect with him. He can place orders. He can understand what is the expected time of delivery. He can see who is where the batch is right now, whether it has started from the port or it has reached the destination or not. There are many things which is possible. Yeah. Now, the third part is the productivity piece, which is again the most important thing. Like I was telling you, it starts with R&D. Now, R&D is no longer 12-year affair. We used to have a 12-year time to complete your R&D, then finally your medicine is up. No, it is no more like that. We have reduced it to 12 months. That is 1 year. You can do R&D, complete your R&D in just 1 month. Yeah, the drug discovery cycle has drastically come down thanks to generative AI, predictive AI, and all other stuff. Once the science part of is done, you go to shop floor, your yields. Now, yields are improved by five times or 10 times because of all the Industry 4.0 transformations. The SLAs, the service level for the customers, gone are those days where I commit to a customer that I will deliver this particular batch to you by X date, and I'm not able to deliver it on time because the whole machinery is connected from your demand sensing to your manufacturing. Now, I know that this particular batch needs to be delivered by 31st of maybe October. I need to start the batch by June, by July, so that I can reach that milestone and still send it by sea route, not by air route. Air is expensive, sea is cheaper. So the whole SLA to a customer is also improved. Finally, I think the NPS, the Net Promoter Score, we also do NPS at our side, and we are able to see the best in class for today's world in B2C is around 45 to 50, which is Apple. We are able to reach around 40, 42, which is like again best in class in its own sense because the customers are so happy that they are getting the transparency, they're getting things on time, SLAs are not breached, hence and so forth. So there are many such examples which has ultimately helped us to reduce the cost per thousand pills by 43 odd percent. I've seen this across the industry, by the way. I'm not talking about just one company. I'm just talking across the industry that we are seeing around 43 to 45% cost is reduced for per thousand pills. The manufacturing cost has reduced by 10%. Overall logistics cost has reduced by 20 to 25%. Productivity of a shop floor of a factory has the output has increased by 45 to 50% because of the predictions and because of the right scheduling and everything. The overall productivity of an FTE of a person who is working on in the shop floor has increased by 60 to 65%. The production lead time, which used to take a lot of time, like I said, June, July, I need to start a batch. Now I don't need to do that. I can start a batch still by August and still achieve the timeline because the production lead time has decreased by 25 to 30%. Quality wise, also the deviations, incidents, issues which we see in the batches have also reduced by around 60 to 70%. Customer complaints we used to get a lot of complaints, and nowadays the complaints have also reduced by 30 to 35%. So all this is possible because of the whole digital revolution what we are seeing today, which is primarily driven by Industry 4.0 when it comes to a shop floor thing, driven by six levers which I told you: AR, VR, advanced analytics, industrial IoT, automation, the performance monitoring, digital twin. These are the six technologies which have helped many industries within the pharmaceutical space and even beyond to improve their yields and to make a better top line and bottom line impact. Now, bottom line, definitely all of this are ultimately having an impact on your profitability. And top line impacts are the hunting and farming one, the way I explained you. So definitely there's impact on both the sides of the web.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tushar, for the wonderful information that we have provided. I'm sure this is going to help the industry and the players which are wanting to enter or wanting to adopt 4.0. So that's a question is out of course, but I genuinely want to ask you. So, for example, there is a startup which is, which is not so big, but still in the pharma industry, right? They want to venture into pharma. What do you think they should inculcate or have a technology team in-house? Or do you think there are players in the market which are doing pretty good to sink in with you to understand your form of manufacturing or processes, and then they can, provide you the right solutions? In your personal capacity or understanding, what do you think is better for them?
So I think it's always good to have a product squad. This is the new way of working, wherein you have an agile way of product management. But then in-house, it's like a garage team, wherein in-house teams, at least one person to hold everyone together, called as a product manager or a product owner who owns the product, and the external partners coming, going, and internal teams driving it. The reason why I'm
Okay.
telling you, because our processes we know better as compared to an external partner coming in and doing it for us. And second important thing is getting the right partnership is extremely important, Indu. It is not easy to find the right partner in today's world because startups are there, many companies are there who claim big things. But when it comes to your business, you know it better than them. And how much will they be
Absolutely.
able to use, how much you'll be able to use them depends on what you understand and what is your requirement from the industry. So it's a mix, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, and there are are you aware of any organizations which are doing pretty good or innovative stuff in the market specifically for pharma industry in 4.0 or automation part?
Well, many, perhaps everyone. McKinsey does it as a consulting, Deloitte does it, Big Fours do it, definitely. Then startups also, there are many startups who do it. Many companies, actually, you just name it and you just say that I want someone for RPA, robotic process
Mhm,
automation. There will be 10 companies who
mhm.
will come to you and say, I can do it for you. Many companies are there.
Cool. Thank you so much, Tushar. I think we are time bound and we are almost done pretty fast. So, thanks for your time, and maybe we will connect again for several other subjects or topics that you feel you can share your information with us. Uh, See you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Indu. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here. Thank you.